Another day and another news video. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Recently we got an update on the injury that Logan Paul sustained during the main event of Crown Jewel against Roman Reigns. Apparently, when Logan went for a Shane McMahon-esque frog splash from the top rope through the announcer's table, Logan was holding his phone to get a viral video, which I hope the 40 million views were worth it, because he ended up with, let me see if I get this right, a torn meniscus, a torn ACL, and possibly a torn MCL as well. So the recovery time for Mr. Logan Paul will be vast and long. The one thing I can say, though, is I have nothing but respect for Logan for being able to sustain this type of injury and continue with the match. Because not only did he continue with the match, but he completely lasted out the entirety of the match. The remainder of the match, rather. He lasted out the remainder of the match. And, you know, it takes a lot to. It takes a lot to do that in the position that he was in, suffering the injury that he did. Because I do believe it is similar to the injury that Seth Rollins sustained a few years back. I don't know if injury protocol was different. Maybe it wasn't. If I had to guess, it's probably the fact that at the time they probably didn't realize how severe the injury was. Had they realized how severe the injury was at the time, they probably would not have allowed him to continue competing, to avoid risking the injury getting worse. But that's just me. As far as SmackDown last night, which I actually put up a video or did a video about something regarding SmackDown last night, that will probably go up sometime next week, I would figure. But as far as SmackDown last night, we saw a six-pack challenge to crown the next number one contender for the for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that contender is Shotzi Blackheart. Shotzi has never really been given any type of opportunity to stick out, or any opportunity to, you know, really branch away from, I don't want to say being an afterthought, but she's never really, like, been looked at as a go-to for the division to build something of. And that's been the biggest problem, not just for WWE, but for AEW as well, that they seem to only want to rely on certain people to build up the division and not really invest the time into building up other people as well. Even though with social media and with the programming devices that they have, there's no reason why they couldn't have the opportunity to, you know, build up certain talent if they really wanted to have the opportunity to do so. But they just got to take the opportunity to do so, and it's just, you know, to a degree, it seems like they don't want to. But it'll be nice to see someone new in that spot with Ronda Rousey at the Survivor Series, as opposed to just saying the same old same at the Survivor Series. And honestly, it is very, very nice seeing the Survivor Series go off without the battle for brand supremacy. letting that be a Vince McMahon-ism and letting that be something that died with the Vince McMahon regime or another thing that died with the Vince McMahon regime is a very, very, very wise move. And War Games replacing it with War Games is a breath of fresh air in my opinion. I mean, do I miss the traditional Survivor Series elimination match? Yes and no, because the traditional Survivor Series elimination match can be accomplished in the same way, in my opinion, by doing um, War Games, because it is a very similar type of match. It is a very similar type of match, and almost the same concept, but at the same time, it's not like it's almost reversed. Like instead of having the good guys, like a good guy fight a handicap match at the end or near the end, you have a good guy fight the handicap match at the beginning and fight from underneath at the beginning rather than at the end. But that's just me. As far as the SmackDown Women's Division, though, I think that because I've seen a pretty decent amount of criticism. I've seen a pretty decent amount of criticism over the last 24 hours about the lack of direction for the women's division. The one credit I would give is that basically I think you have that I think you have to figure that Triple H is both trying to create a direction for the division. He's both trying to create a direction for the division, and he's also trying to what's it called? He's also trying to undo what Vince McMahon did. Taking away the depth from the division. If that makes sense. So, the one thing that I would say is that needs to be done, though, is that Triple H needs to 100% step back and say, what's the plan here? What's the plan here? What do we hope to accomplish? And once you figure out the plan and what you hope to accomplish, then you could start figuring out where to go from there. You know what I mean? Because it's like I said yesterday, that they need to have, if I was them, I'd have maybe a bulletin board at the corporate office. A bulletin board at the corporate office, and have it be where you sit there and say that this is our plan for WrestleMania, this is our plan for next year, this is where we hope to go, and you build from there. You build backwards. Like, you want to know, where are we going with Ronda Rousey's title reign? Where are we going with this? Where are we going with that? Basically what's going on. And that should discount a lot of what you had, problems or issues you had with the women's division. You know what I mean? It should, pull back on a lot of the issues and a lot of the problems, because you have a long-term plan and a long-term direction, not just for the women's champion, but others within the division as well. But that's where I will say it and say it and say it until I'm blue in the face, that they need to have a direction for the division, and if they have a direction for the division, then the presentation for the division will be more clean on programming. And it looks like right now, at least, Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey running the division seems to be the direction for the division. Just one more thought, and that is for War Games, and it combines War Games and Logan Paul's injury, that if Logan is not up to standard as far as being able to be there for War Games and manage the babyface side, because the babyface side seems to have uh, seems to have been put together with the return of Sheamus and his alignment with Drew, and circling back to Drew McIntyre being a part of the Bloodline, you know, that feud with the Bloodline, Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes. It seems like we have at least 4 members of the War Games team. If they're going to do 5-on-5, then we need somebody else, maybe a Kevin Owens, somebody like that. Could be perfect. It could be a perfect fit for War Games, and it could also plant some seeds and throw some intrigue between Sammy and Kevin in that match as well. But it seems like the babyface side is established for War Games. My only question is Logan Paul going to be the manager for the War Games team if he's not up to standard to compete? Or maybe Jake will manage them at the behest of his brother. And we'll see something there with Jake becoming infused into the WWE storyline as well. But either way, this has been my thoughts on wrestling. We're going to have another video about AEW and an update on Nick Aldis in the next video. So I will see you guys again soon. But if you like the content, leave a like. Let me know what you think on the situation coming out of SmackDown. And as we progress to Survivor Series, let me know down in the comment section below, because that stuff does help know that you enjoy the content, and maybe I'll actually be able to create a more smoother outro in a later video. But either way, do not forget to ding that notification bell to always know when a new video is up on the channel, and I will see you guys again soon.